schus to continue learning by Darkecha. The limud that we began before the Yom Tov is even more nageya, more urgent now. Sugi of Tefilah of davening, on page Shiur Dalet. Where's base? Lahamik is akar b'yichud Hashem Yisbarach. V'ni oimek inyan Tefilahu. The oimek, the depth of this whole inyan of davening is shebet Tefilah nishpal ha'adam koyach lahasig akar yoser amuka b'yichud Hashem Yisbarach. The davening, even though from the time that we're davening, from the time that we're children or whenever a person began, we always see davening as the ikr of davening. We've always felt is asking and requesting, which of course is a very important part of davening. But that's not the ikr, that's not the oimek of davening. Even the requesting, even the begging, all of that is a hechet timtza, is lahasig akar yoser amuka b'yichud Hashem Yisbarach, to reach a deeper recognition in Yichud Hashem. Dahainu b'Tefilah ha'adam zocheh lahavin lahargish b'yeser oimek es metzius Hashem Yisbarach ba'olam. Davening is the time of the day when a person is able to understand and to feel much greater depth the metzius of Hashem in the world. The presence of Hashem in the world. Not only His presence, but she'enod milvado, that He is everything. And through this, the person is able to connect, to be attached to Hashem, stronger, and to live his life together with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even outside of davening, and when davening is finished, continue on and to live the chayito as chayev, to live with Hashem. Zui shleimus atfilah, and that really is the shleimus of davening. That's really the tachlis, the shleimus of davening. Lahagi lahakari yoseh chazaka b'yichud Hashem Yisbarach, to reach a stronger awareness of Hashem, of yichud Hashem. V'meila lechibur amok yoser imo Yisbarach. V'meila to a much deeper relationship, a deeper connection. Open shayidei hatfilah in such a way that through davening, shayidei hatfilah, yakir yosef mitzias Hashem Yisbarach, v'shu yochid ba'olamo, to recognize, to feel that Hashem is yochid, is alone, ba'olamo v'yargish v'yichya oso v'chol inyan, and to feel and to be able to live v'yichya oso in that reality, everything in his life. So look at Shin Samach Tes, footnote Shin Samach Tes. V'zesayt ha'shavach shel Tefilah. One of the great mysteries of davening, and certainly a person who's not used to it and comes to davening finds it to be very, very strange. The whole emphasis on shavach and praising Hashem, all of the praises for Hashem throughout davening. Which is a indispensable part of davening. In Shemona Esrei, you must begin with shavach. You must begin by praising Hashem. Before you could ask for anything, you have to first praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and so on. And then you ask bakasha, and then after you ask, you have to thank and you have to praise Hashem again. So what is this whole business of shavach, of praising and thanking? Because the truth is that only through this chelik of shavach and haidor, which is when the person is able to feel this yichud and this closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the shlemus Tefillah. Really, it's the ikar of Tefillah. It's not that Hashem Baruch, of course, needs our compliments. It's that we need to feel more and more who we're talking to, who He is, who's the one who we're asking. Ki shevach, because the meaning of praising, of shevach, ki shevach inyono lahavin lahargish es gadlus Hashem Baruch. Because lahavin lahargish es gadlus Hashem Baruch. People in ancient times, Jews walked around thinking about God all the time. We don't know how they lived and what we only could see in Tanakh and in the Mishnah and the Gemara, but they were thinking about, they were living in that Metzius of Hashem Baruch. And and they, in earlier years, also experienced Nisim and Niflos in a more obvious way, at least in the times of Tanakh. And Hashem Baruch was a living presence in their lives. It was a very powerful living presence in their lives. He is now as well, but it's much more hidden. He's much more hidden. That's the galus that we're in. He's very hidden. So Chazal saw over time that shaking a person into that God consciousness, at least 3 times a day, shaking him into a consciousness, into an awareness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, was something that was very, very critical. So a person will go and will forget, will not think, will not remember. So at least morning, afternoon, and night, to cover the day, Erev Avodah V'Tzaharayim, the person enters into that zone, into that reality. He's living in it every minute of his life, living it every second. But to force a person to become conscious of what's really there. When a person doesn't live in that, doesn't feel that, is not aware of it. So, shavach v'hidor, praising and thanking, is not something that chalila that Hashem needs. It's what we desperately need in order to have that relationship, in order to have that connection. Ki shavach, and footnote Shem Samachtas. Ki shavach in yonu lahavin lahargish es gadlus Hashem Baruch mitoch kach lahakir chazak sha'akol Hashem Baruch Ha'iseh. To feel very, very strongly sha'akol Hashem Baruch Ha'iseh. That everything is Hashem Baruch. Hakol Hashem Baruch Ha'iseh. V'hakol toiv gomer. And by reminding ourselves over and over and over that Hakol toiv gomer, that everything is good, and Hashem Baruch knows what He's doing, because during the course of the day it's very easy to forget that. It's very easy to forget that. Sha'akol toiv v'akol toiv gomer. And to stop everything and to have hana, to return to that relationship, that presence that's always there, but is very often during the day is forgotten. But if all of davening was asking for things, if davening was only bakashas, even though of course a bakasha asking itself obviously is a siman that this person knows that in order to get what he needs, he knows that he has to turn to Hashem. And that itself is yakar ma'od. It's something which is very important, very valuable. That's not the tachlis. And this is one of the reasons that there are people who daven regularly, but they don't see Yeshuas. They don't see that that what they're asking for. They don't see the Yeshuas. In the Shbar Mizah, they become very broken. Since in the minds of many people, the whole davening is bakasha, and the reason that they're davening is to ask. And the other stuff is just, we have to say, but the reason for the davening, the underlying yesod of their Tefilah is bakasha, is asking. And they don't see that they're getting results, so they become very broken. And the reason for this is that many people in their davening, their goal in davening, their objective and what they're seeking is hatzlacha, is to be successful. Especially the way that we were raised in modern times, is that the effort that a person makes should be met with success. And if the effort that you make is not met with success, then you're a lo yaslach. You're unsuccessful. And when you're unsuccessful with something, you try something else. Or you just become very discouraged and depressed. So since many people, their objective in davening is to get something, either in Gashmias, either in their physical lives, Parnes, whatever it might be, children, whatever it is, or even in Ruchnias, or to get something even in something spiritual, something in Ruchnias. But the objective is, what can I get? And that's how the success of davening is measured in the person's mind. And that's not what davening. That's not the omik. That's not the ikr of davening. What's missing is the relationship. And we just went through Yontif, and everybody knows that we spoke about that every year, and that Chazal tell us that a person that comes, we see Rosh Hashanah, that there are bechlal no requests on Rosh Hashanah. Aside from the regular nusach of the beginning of Shema Esrei, you would think that it would be a day filled with bakashas, but it's not. It's not. The whole Rosh Hashanah, which is the Rosh, which is the mind, the beginning of the year, which sets a tone for the entire year. The root of the entire year is Rosh Hashanah, and the whole day is HaMelech. The whole day is about awareness and presence and relationship. We see that when it comes out on Shabbos, then even more so, that even the Avinu Malkeinu we don't say. So when a person's objective of davening is or the person's objective is hatzlacha, is getting what he wants, so we see that Chazal say that by Yontif, a person is like that. It's like a dog that's barking hav. The sound that hav means that give. In Aramaic, hav means give me. Aleinem toivsim sheikra tefili hasagas elokus v'skashus Hashem Yisbarach. Many people don't get this, that the tachlis of davening is hasagas elokus. Hasagas elokus. Closeness to Hashem. It's kashrus Hashem Yisbarach. Vav shebevadei kol Tefilah poelos. Even though we've been told and we believe that every davening, even a davening that's very, very, very plain and very simple, and is a Tefilah that really is just about bakasha and so on, in some way, every Tefilah is pointless. However, if a person's entire davening is rak la'atzmam, it's only about getting, not a connection, not a relationship. It's rak la'atzmam. We're choikim in the Kodesh emes. They're very, very far from the Kodesh emes. It's the same thing in a relationship between a husband and a wife, or between friends. If the person begins to, if the other begins to understand and to feel that all I'm about is being asked and being used and as a means of giving this other person some benefit or pleasure, but not as somebody to be close to have a connection to. As Aish kitrugim ala Tefilah. As Chazal tell us, that kitrugim, there are manias, there are things that get in the way of such empty tefillahs. There are things that get in the way of such empty tefillahs, whether they're malachim that get in the way, or other manias, psychological, emotional, spiritual, whatever they are. There are manias in those tefillahs. And those tefillahs don't reach the place that they could have reached. They don't reach that place. Doesn't mean that Hashem's not aware of them. Hashem's aware of everything. Doesn't mean Hashem doesn't hear. Tefillahs kol peh means that Hashem hears even the tefillahs that are just said with the mouth, even if they're not said with the heart. Hashem hears everything. But a person who davens with the intent, it's hard, and you have to always work at this. A person who davens with the intent of revealing Hashem's Baruch within himself, within his life, in his heart, in his life, b'chol ha'olam, and revealing and seeing Hashem in everything that he's living, in everything that is. And to become closer to him and to connect to him. That's the person's objective and goal. Since this person's goal, since his objective is correct, that's the tachlis of davening. And he's using davening for the purpose that it was created. This is the purpose of davening. The bakashas, that's a side inyan, but the tachlis of davening is this kesher, is this connection, is this relationship. As I tefillah parles b'shleimus, then the tefillah works much more b'shleimus. All the parts of davening, every aspect of davening. It doesn't mean that even the biggest tzaddik always gets what he asks for, but it's much more powerful. That's why these great tzaddikim were able to be mamshech, to draw down all kinds of amazing yeshuas, all the stories. Tzaddikim were able to accomplish with their davening. Obviously, even the person who's davening with the right intention, the famim l'ker zman, Hashem has certain inyanim that he's working out in the world and in our lives, and it doesn't mean that we're going to get now what we're asking for. First of all, there are many reasons that what we're asking for might not be at all good for us. It might seem to be good for us, but it's not. Or it might seem to be good short term, but long term it's not good, and so on and so forth. All the other explanations. But v'loi tamen hashpah nimshachas miyad. The hashpah doesn't always come miyad. So even in ruchnius, which is for sure good, to be able to ask Hashem to be able to strengthen, help my emunah and my learning and my davening and so on, all of that, of course, is good. To help my children in their ruchnius, all of that is good. There's no questions about that can't be anything bad about that. If you're asking for, if you're asking for a new iPhone, that might not be a good thing. But when you're asking for your kid, your kid should be able to, should want to daven, should want to put on tefillin, and want to keep Shabbos. There's no shilas that that's a good thing. So even when it comes to that, doesn't mean that even this person who's a strong davener has answered it right away. Nevertheless, a person must remember that in every single tefillah, the ikr is to connect to this, to connect to this moichin, this awareness of Elokus, an awareness, a feeling of His presence, an awareness of Elokus. And as far as the relationship is concerned, as far as that closeness to Hashem, that's always immediate. That's the second that you turn to Him. The second that you turn to Him. There, the result is immediate. A feeling of being closer. You might not get the thing that you want, but the one who you want, you get. You don't get the thing that you wanted, even if it's something which is very good. Hashem has His cheshbonos. You might not get the thing that you wanted, but the one who you're talking to, the one who you want, and the one who you're turning to, you're drawing closer to. And that's the tachlis of daven. That's the tachlis of daven. Page Reish Tesvav, Gimel. We shouldn't think that this is something, that this way of davening is only shaykh to Bal Madrega. It's a person on a very high level. L'kol Yehudi. Every single Jew, the Fi Madregaso, Yochali Kanis LaHakara B'Yichud Hashem can live this way. Use davening. Davening is a time of Hakar B'Yichud Hashem. L'dugma, for instance. Yehudi shet Tefilah hi be'ikar al tzarcha. Say if a person who's davening is be'ikar, his davening is focused on getting what he wants and asking for what he needs. V'zuhi madrigos l'fi matzav. And that's his madrega, the matzav that he's in right now. Maybe gashmi, so it could be something which is more ruchnius, but that's his matzav. As amitoch habakoshes and etzrochos lo. Okay, so even though he's in that place, nevertheless, it's an opportunity for him. Yuchel is chazek while he's asking in that place that he's in. Yuchel is chazek be'emunah pshuta shehakol mi'Hashem zvarach, to focus at least on this, on why am I turning to Him? The reason that I'm turning to Him is because I believe that ultimately it's up to Him. And ultimately, I can't have this without Him. So that's a good place to begin. If that's where you are, at least it's you could be mischazik in this emunah pshuta shehakol mi'Hashem zvarach. V'rak hu oiseh hakol, and that only HaKadosh Baruch Hu does everything, can give you that. So here, when you're asking for the things that you need, at least the request becomes heartfelt. At least the request becomes something which is sincere. You're not just mumbling a couple of words and like checking in and thinking that because you checked in, now you're going to get what you asked for. At least if you're remembering why you're asking Him and why you're turning to Him and so on, And the asking itself becomes more heartzig, becomes something which is more heartfelt. Mikol halev, aber yisboinen v'yargish, to think at least about this and to feel this. Ma pnimius bakashayis. What's the pnimius of this thing that he's doing right now, that he's asking Hashem? So he's saying the words Refeinu Hashem. What's the pnimius of the words Refeinu Hashem there? Heal us, Hashem, and we will be healed. Reino Banyenu. Look at our sorrows. What's the pnimius of these bakashas? Hashem Shema B'Karli. Tiena is Nacha Kashuvas. What's the pnimius of these bakashas? V'ayne Shemitoicha bakashas Yosim Liba. The pnimius is to pay attention. Shekol ma sheyesh lo zeh me'Hashem Yisbarach. That everything that you have and anything that you could possibly get is me'Hashem Yisbarach. Mefarnes hakol. And he's the one who's mefarnes hakol. That gives everything. And only through Hashem can we have what we need. Because there is no koach chutz mimenu. So if the person at least begins in that place, so even if someone is much more accustomed to this way of davening, and he's much more focused on the bakasha part of davening, the asking. He hasn't yet matured or moved on to a higher level to really feel the ikr, the oimek of Tefilah that we've been talking about. So he's more at the beginning stages, even though he could be 70 or 80 or 90 years old. But he's much more in the bakasha. But often even though the person's davening is bikr for what he needs, but he's able to climb, and he's able to get to a higher place of this meichin of awareness, and a stronger hakar, a stronger awareness, and a stronger feeling. Hashem Yisbarach controlling the world. This is the last 1,000 phone conversations I've had. I'm not exaggerating. I don't think really. It sounds like an exaggeration, but it could be close to that over the past couple of days. And it goes the same way each time. And it's not because it doesn't make sense. It's not because of being critical. It's just the same conversation as of just a few hours ago with a very frantic parent whose son is insisting on staying in Eretz Yisrael. He does not want to come home, and the mother is losing it, as they say, that he has to come home, and the boy does not want to come home, and they're in a terrible fight, and she's booked him a ticket, and it's a whole milchama that's going on. In the milchama, there are these little milchamas that are not as scary, and the boy says to his mother, "This is what's going on." The boy says, "I believe that I'm safe in yeshiva, and they're taking proper precautions, and I want to stay here. I feel this is the place to be. I'm in Yerushalayim, I'm in yeshiva, and this is where I want to be." And whatever appeal he makes to the mother about emunah and bitachon, it's not working. I don't know what the end of this story is going to be. But what? What did Rabbi say? Every single one of these conversations is nuanced and is different. So sometimes, I don't have a single position in this.
I'm talking about this one.
This particular one this morning.
Yeah.
I tried to help the boy. That mahalach. I tried to give chizuk to the mother. But I always say to the parent, I, as a friend of yours, cannot take any achrayas. I can only try to open up some thoughts in your head of a deeper place inside of you. But at the end of the day, you're the parent, and I'm not telling you what to do. It's your, it's your call. But listen to what your kid is saying. He's saying some good things. You describe yourself as a believing Orthodox Jew your whole life, and your son is asking you, what does that orthodoxy mean? What does that belief mean? So a lot of people who are falling apart now, and they have to ask themselves, what is the lamaisa of my emunah? Whenever there's a crisis, Erev Yontif, I was going crazy because I had water in the basement. Now looking back and saying, well, like this was our problem. Where am I going to find a wet vac? Like that's a couple days later, and but that's human nature, and we have to fight with human nature. Right? So there's some people who are wet vacuuming with a niggin and with emunah, and there are people who are going nuts during the rain, the mess. Again, it's understandable. It's very upsetting to have your basement messed up, and it's very annoying. Erev Yontiv, instead of putting up decorations, you're trying to carry boxes out of the garage or something. It's annoying. It's disappointing. But there are some people who fall apart, and there are others who sing and again. And what we're going through right now, lahavdil, infinite havdalas. What we're going through right now is of course a big base medrash of emunah. So, the person who's sitting here and falling to pieces, while you're watching some soldier in Eretz Yisrael, some guy who might not even be from, who's saying Shema Yisrael, and he's so you have to ask yourself, why is he doing that and I'm doing this? Is that because I love him more than he loves himself? I don't even know. I love him more than he loves himself. So these questions are very, very painful. How people feel with their kids being away, being overseas. Again, I'm not saying it shouldn't be chas v'shalom interpreted in any way. That I'm saying that those who bring them home are chas v'chalila, like weak and feeble and messed up. I'm not saying that, God forbid, because there are all kinds of reasons why. It could be even because of a grandmother. It could be because of a health issue. There are many, many reasons, and I respect, and I tell that to all of the families, that if that's how you feel, and it's very important, and you feel that you're not going to be able to come to yourself, okay. Because everybody has different. It's not just a matter of emunah. It's a matter also that is affected by one's emotional stability, and there are many one's family situation. It could be that the siblings are terrified. There are many reasons why. I'm not saying that is it, or because you brought the kid home like you're a lo yitzlach. Chas v'chalil. Absolutely not. Many, many different reasons why. But one needs to, among all the other things, one needs to really try to stay focused and to try to go to that place and to find within oneself and to ask oneself, is the issue of emunah part of this as well? Is it something which maybe my son, maybe there's something that he's got going on that I haven't worked on, and he's been working on, and I'm not. And there was this one woman who was actually a teacher. It was yesterday afternoon. Who was a very, very chashuva teacher, and I told her not a teacher of history, a teacher of Torah, and I told her, the way that you're speaking is not like a mammon. The way you're talking is not like a mammon, because she basically was saying is, look, all the stuff that I teach, I say, okay, that's what it says in the Svar, but this is really dangerous. That's really what she said. She said, the Hamas, they're really bad. Yeah. So the Svar I'm talking about, like, really bad. There's stuff out there that's really bad. And the kind of security that your son has right now is much better than our grandparents or great-grandparents had in heavenly security. And I said, you do whatever you think is right, but think about it. Think about the words that you're saying. This is really dangerous. And then just go over all the Tehillim. You're probably on 5,000 Tehillim chats, right? So think about the words that you say. Just try to focus on the words that you're saying, and to try to draw near to them, and it's hard. This is a big nisayon. But all of Klal Yisrael, even Jews who are not religious, but believe in Hashem, are asking now. It's a very strong time of asking. Bakashas. So that's very important, and that's a very good beginning with davening. But it would be a wonderful opportunity to use that to move on to higher madregas of Amunah and to higher madregas of Tefilah, and to be able to have this connection, a deeper connection, and more of an awareness. But it's a very good beginning. It's a very important beginning, because through that he can be zeicher. Come to a stronger hakara, a stronger hargasha. V'shlitas Hashem is baruch ba'olam that the Baruch Shem is the balabas. The Kodesh Baruch Hu is the balabas. Shu nice nakal. Shu nice nakal. Aish Yehudi she'oiches madregas ahava v'yirudvekas. Then you have a Jew who's on a madrega where he's already in the parasha of Ahavas Hashem, Yiras Hashem, and Dvekas Hashem. It's a very, very serious person. Also, Kol Hayom Lahargis Hashem Baruch. This person is all day long working on feeling closer to Hashem. He lives in the sugya. Still, this person looks forward to davening, and he's excited about davening, because davening is a time where we could even strengthen and deepen this kesher. It's like you love somebody, and you think about that person that you love, that person's on your mind. That's very sweet, but it's much sweeter. It's even sweeter when you're with the person. That's how it is. Davening is, Hashem's always with us, but davening is a time when we're mamish in that mitzias in a very clear way. As a bakar has really Yosef Yam B'Zev Yagish Yosef Karv L'Hashem to feel closer to Hashem. V'chemishar madregas. And so does Bishar Madregas. Atzad HaShavah Shebekula Shekol Echad Lefi Madregoso Matzav HaGoshes Libo Bizman HaTefilah. What everybody has in common, all daveners. Shekol Echad Lefi Madregoso Matzav HaGoshes Libo Bizman HaTefilah. According to that person's level and the Hagosha that he has at the time of davening, he has to take advantage of the davening as a time to strengthen that awareness of Hashem. So even if he's just at the preliminary early stages of Tefilah, the more basic level of Tefilah, which is about getting and then asking, okay, but that's where you are now. That's okay. Use that place that you're in as an opportunity to get closer to him, to think about him. That's okay. And don't make yourself, don't feel bad that you're not, how come I'm like this, I'm not a Bal Madrega. No, it's not the Indian. The thing is, right now, you're there, so then make a connection. Like the mashal that I mentioned many times over the years from the Pisetzna, from the Aish schools that about the son who was taken as a hostage. He was taken to the jail someplace, and for ransom money, this was a very common thing in the old days. At least you were able to pay to get a Jew back in the old days. So the father was given an hour a month. He's given an hour a month to go see his kid. Go into they let him into the cell. An hour a month. So the father's working very hard on this case and raising the money and getting the papers to try to get the kid out. So the Pisetzna says it's a mashal. It just says that the father has his couple of minutes, whatever, of the month, and the guard lets him into the cell, and he right away takes out the documents. He starts to show his son about, we're working on this paper, working on that paper. I need some information and he starts talking to his kid. So the Pisetzna says that the kid is sitting there thinking, okay, I know, we'll talk about it in a second. Like, can't I get a hug? What about Abba? What's going on? So the Nimshal, the Rabbi said, is that there are many reasons why that the door of the cell of the jail opens up. There could be all kinds of reasons why your heart opens. But once you're in, if you're there, and take advantage of it. And tell your son that you love him. Tell him that you miss him. Okay, you get to the papers in a couple of minutes. As you'll get to what you need in a couple of minutes. But to begin with, the jail door is open. Right now, unfortunately, our brothers and sisters are being held, but the cell of our hearts is wide open. Of Jewish hearts all over the world is wide open. I don't say that about non-Jewish hearts because I don't believe in that. Sorry. I know that my wife showed me that there were Japanese people that were waving Israeli flags. It's charming, but it's main bonus. I don't go for this. No. It's a passing. Kachalom yauf. It's main bonus.
Sign that everybody's recognizing Hashem a little.
Maybe.
The one Hashem.
They'll forget about it in a few minutes.
It takes more than a couple of Jews being killed, though. So, I'm sorry for being so cynical. I have a different upbringing than you do. So but the heart of the Jewish heart is ripped open everywhere. The cell door is open. So everybody's asking help. Everybody's asking. So once the cell door is open, so it's already an opportunity. You're going in. It's an opportunity. So whatever madrega you're on.
It's counterintuitive though, because all we're thinking now is that we want them to be safe.
Right.
We're not thinking about ourselves, oh please allow me to be closer to you. We're thinking the natural tendencies to say.
There are a lot of natural tendencies. People have lots of natural tendencies, and we try to overcome them. When I say overcome, doesn't mean we shouldn't think about that. Of course, that's the focal point. Just asking, we're begging, we're asking, but to think about who we're asking, and to strengthen our belief that only in such a way can it come, and to go from there to try to. Yeah, you're right. Of course, it's natural. That's why it's not something which is it's not bad. It's a very very. So we're living in a it's a historical, unbelievable historical time with all the pain that we're in and what's going on. But Jewish hearts are wide open. That's why the second that Jewish hearts are wide open, so then we stop yelling at each other about Narishkeit, about judicial reform. Who even remembers what that means? judicial form. And the same guys, these two guys, the week before, they would yell at each other on the street and wouldn't talk to each other. They're sitting in the tank together, and they're protecting each other's lives. And they're holding each other. And this guy's putting on her Tal's cotton. When the heart is open, then there are no walls. So that means there are no walls between one Jew and another Jew. There are also no walls between the Jew and Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's a time, something. A person thinks, it takes seichel. Obviously, Jews that were for many, many years not thinking about Hashem, it's much harder for them. It's much harder for them. For Jews who have been thinking about Hashem on some level all their lives, it's easier. But regardless of the madrega the person is on, that's what he's explaining. So Tefilah titan l'tesefes madrega b'kar b'seichel, v'tesefes madrega b'goshes alev mikol Tefilah v'ya'odem merumam yoseh. Every single davening can make you into a person who's elevated, more elevated. It's closer to Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's more elevated. David, I'll tell you what would make the world much more aware of God's presence. If in 1 second, if we wake up on Shabbos morning and news trickles in from the security guards that all of Hamas dropped dead, how do you like that? You okay with that?
No,
I think the whole world would feel, would recognize Am Yisrael, who we are, would recognize the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Moshe Weinberger is, yeah?
something close will happen.
What?
Something close to Avodah Hashem will happen.
Something
Close to what the Rabbi is saying will happen.
Yeah,
It'll move in that direction.
yeah.
Avodah
Yeah, but with none of the hashish,
Pretty good.
with none of the
so
hashish,
far.
no, with none of the hashish is being heard, and no soldiers is being heard.
Amen.
Misha Maven is here,
Amen.
okay? Well, Misha Maven is here. Whoever understands this. Zayiloi Tomid Tam v'cheshek b'tefillah. Next page. Whoever understands this will always have a tam. Davening will always be gishmak. He's not going to have necessarily a musical accompaniment, in shul. He's not going to have someone playing the guitar or a violin. Davening, a mincha, a mincha, some stuffy shul in a basement somewhere. Davening. Tam b'cheshek b'tefillah. Tam b'cheshek b'tefillah. Yeah, we need a lot of things now to try to get the davening to work. But this person, a person who's in that place, always has a tam b'cheshek b'tefillah. Those things, whatever. I'm not talking to a person. We have to try whatever we can. But a person who's in this place, a tam b'cheshek b'tefillah. Tam b'cheshek b'tefillah. Kimevin shebechol tefillah tia eich shetia. Because this person feels this, that every single tefillah, every single davening, tia eich shetia. Even if it's just, again, a basic davening of, I need this, please help me. Every tefillah, chol tefillah, tia eich shetia. Whatever that tefillah, whatever the tefillah is, even the simplest tefillah. Hu misraimim miskarev. You walk out of that davening feeling closer. On some level, misraimim miskarev, with more of a connection, more of an awareness, more of a feeling. And I'm davening, and I'm hoping that that's what's happening. And maybe that's what's needed. We should be zeichet to see that all of our tefillahs will be piled in a very clear and very obvious way. That it should be mamish l'mata mesar tzvach.